What makes a rock album truly legendary? When you clicked on this video, you probably wondered which albums made the cut, whether your favorite band is here, and if these picks will actually blow your mind, or just repeat the same tired list you've seen everywhere else. Here's the thing. These 10 albums didn't just change rock music, they rewrote the entire rulebook. From garage bands that became gods to studio experiments that created new worlds of sound, we're diving deep into the records that prove rock and roll isn't just music, it's pure lightning captured in vinyl. Let's get started. 1. Led Zeppelin IV, 1971. The mystical symbols on the cover told you everything and nothing at the same time. Led Zeppelin IV arrived like a thunderstorm in 1971, and music was never the same. This wasn't just an album, it was a sonic declaration of war against everything boring about rock music. From the moment Black Dog kicks down your door with that impossible rhythm, you know you're in for something special. But it's Stairway to Heaven that became the mountain every rock song since has tried to climb. 8 minutes of pure escalation, building from whispered acoustic confessions to a guitar solo that sounds like angels and demons having the ultimate showdown. The album captures Led Zeppelin at their absolute peak, balancing Robert Plant's banshee wails with Jimmy Page's guitar wizardry, all held together by the thunderous foundation of John Bonham's drums and John Paul Jones's bass mastery. 2. The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, 1973. Speaking of building something monumental, Pink Floyd took 2 years to craft what many consider the most complete album experience ever created. The Dark Side of the Moon isn't just a collection of songs, it's a journey through the human psyche, exploring greed, time, death, and madness with surgical precision. The album opens with a heartbeat that becomes your heartbeat, drawing you into a world where cash registers become percussion, and synthesizers paint emotions you didn't know existed. David Gilmour's guitar doesn't just play notes, it speaks languages that bypass your brain and go straight to your soul. Roger Waters' conceptual vision created something that transcends music, becoming a meditation on what it means to be human. The album spent 14 years on the Billboard charts, proving that sometimes the most experimental art becomes the most universally loved. 3. Abbey Road, The Beatles, 1969. The Beatles knew they were saying goodbye, and they made sure it was unforgettable. Abbey Road represents 4 musical geniuses at the height of their creative powers, even as personal tensions threatened to tear them apart. The album's second side flows like a symphony of farewell, with song fragments and fully realized masterpieces, weaving together into something that feels both intimate and epic. Come Together grooves with a swagger that still sounds futuristic, while Something proves George Harrison could write love songs that rival anything Lennon and McCartney ever dreamed of. But it's that famous medley that closes the album, a 17-minute suite that takes you from You Never Give Me Your Money through The End, that showcases everything that made the Beatles irreplaceable. They were saying goodbye to each other and to us, and somehow made that goodbye sound like the most beautiful thing ever recorded. 4. Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen, 1975. Bruce Springsteen wasn't just writing songs about escape. He was creating the soundtrack for every dreamer who ever felt trapped in a small town. Born to Run exploded out of New Jersey like a Harley Davidson, breaking the sound barrier, all leather jackets and desperate romance. The title track doesn't just rock, it soars, with Springsteen painting pictures of highways and heartbreak over Clarence Clemons' saxophone and Roy Bittan's piano. This album proved that rock music could be both anthemic and deeply personal, creating characters so real you feel like you grew up with them. Thunder Road opens like a love letter to possibility, while Jungle Land closes with 10 minutes of pure cinematic storytelling. Springsteen took the American dream, shook it until it rattled, and turned it into the most hopeful desperation ever captured on record. 5. Nevermind, Nirvana, 1991. Sometimes a single guitar riff can change everything. When Kurt Cobain's distorted chord progression introduced "Smells Like Teen Spirit," it wasn't just announcing a new song, it was declaring the death of hair metal and the birth of grunge. Nevermind arrived in 1991 and made every other rock album suddenly sound outdated. Cobain's songwriting combined pop sensibilities with punk aggression, creating something that was both accessible and dangerous. Songs like "Come As You Are" and "Lithium" proved that heavy music could be vulnerable, while Dave Grohl's drumming provided the power that turned whispered confessions into stadium-shaking anthems. The album captured the alienation of Generation X and somehow made that alienation feel like victory. Nirvana didn't just make an album, they soundtracked a cultural revolution. 6. Back in Black, AC/DC, 1980. After losing their original lead singer, Bon Scott, AC/DC could have disappeared forever. Instead, they created the ultimate testament to rock and roll's power to overcome anything. Back in Black isn't just an album, it's a celebration of everything that makes rock music essential. Brian Johnson's vocals proved that lightning could indeed strike twice, while Angus Young's guitar work redefined what it meant to rock. Every song hits like a hammer, from the iconic title track's funeral bell introduction to "You Shook Me All Night Long's" swagger. Malcolm Young's rhythm guitar work creates a foundation so solid you could build cities on it, while Phil Rudd's drumming keeps everything locked in a groove that never lets up. This album proved that sometimes the simplest approach creates the most powerful results. 7. London Calling, The Clash, 1979. The Clash took punk rock around the world without leaving London. London Calling expanded what rock music could be, incorporating reggae, ska, rockabilly, and pop into a sound that was unmistakably their own. The album opens with the apocalyptic title track. Joe Strummer's vocals warning of rising seas over a bass line that sounds like the world ending and being reborn simultaneously. Songs like "Train in Vain" proved they could write perfect pop songs, while the Guns of Brixton showed they understood that great rock music has always been about more than just power chords. Mick Jones's guitar work dances between genres like a musical diplomat, while Topper Headon's drumming provides the heartbeat that keeps everything together. The album captured the uncertainty of the late 70s and transformed that anxiety into pure energy. 8. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, 1977. What happens when a band falls apart emotionally but creates their masterpiece musically? Fleetwood Mac's Rumors answers that question with devastating beauty. Recorded while the band members were breaking up with each other both romantically and professionally, the album transforms personal pain into universal anthems. Stevie Nicks' Dreams floats like smoke over heartbreak, while Lindsey Buckingham's Go Your Own Way rocks with the fury of someone who's done trying to fix what's broken. The album's production is so clean, you can hear every whispered harmony and guitar string bend, creating an intimacy that makes these songs feel like secrets shared between friends. Christine McVie's contributions like "Don't Stop" prove that sometimes the best revenge is writing songs that outlast whatever hurt you. 9. Who's Next? The Who, 1971. The Who entered the 70s determined to prove they were more than just the loudest band in the world. Who's Next showcases a group that had learned to channel their destructive energy into perfect songs. Pete Townshend's synthesizer experiments created textures that were both futuristic and deeply human, while Roger Daltrey's vocals provided the emotional anchor that kept everything grounded. Baba O'Reilly opens with keyboards that sound like machines dreaming, building to a climax that feels like pure liberation. Won't Get Fooled Again remains one of rock's greatest statements of defiance, with John Entwistle's bass and Keith Moon's drums creating a rhythm section that hits harder than most bands' entire sound. The album proved that rock music could be both intellectually ambitious and viscerally thrilling. 10 Highway 61 Revisited, Bob Dylan, 1965.
Oh, God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Abe said, man, you must be putting me
Bob Dylan plugged in his guitar and changed everything. Highway 61, Revisited wasn't just Dylan going electric. It was the moment folk music and rock and roll had their first dance and created something entirely new. Like a Rolling Stone stretches over 6 minutes of pure revelation, with Dylan's nasal vocals delivering lyrics that work like poetry and punch like prize fighters. The album captures Dylan at his most playful and most serious, crafting songs that work as both abstract art and perfect pop. Mike Bloomfield's guitar work provides the perfect counterpoint to Dylan's wordy explosions, while the rhythm section keeps everything moving forward like a train that can't be stopped. This album proved that rock music could be literature, that 3-minute songs could contain entire worlds, and that sometimes the best way to honor tradition is to completely reimagine it. These 10 albums didn't just define rock music. They created the template for what popular music could become. Each one represents a moment when artists decided to ignore the rules and trust their instincts, creating something that still sounds revolutionary decades later. From Led Zeppelin's mystical bombast to Dylan's literary rock and roll, these records prove that the best music happens when creativity meets courage. What's your favorite rock album of all time? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button if this list got you fired up, and subscribe for more deep dives into the music that changed everything. Because rock and roll isn't just about the music. It's about the moments when sound becomes something bigger than itself. And these 10 albums are proof that sometimes, just sometimes, lightning really can be captured in a bottle.